we're here for a Stoop visit with Ariel from Park Slope.
Hi.
And we're going to talk about Rosh Hashanah, this beautiful Jewish holiday. I'm just pinning the comment. See if
Thank you for having me, Marge.
Thank you for coming all the way to my Stoop. It's a beautiful day.
Perfect
Showing
day.
Brooklyn. It really is. And we have some apples and honey here. Oh, hey. People joining. So can you tell us a little bit about, I wanted for people especially who aren't familiar, what is the meaning behind Rosh Hashanah and some of the beautiful traditions about how it comes at the new year and the harvest and all that.
So,
and why we do apples and honey.
Yeah. Rosh Hashanah is starting tomorrow, which is perfect that we were able to fit this in right before the Jewish New Year. It literally means Rosh Hashanah is the head of the year. So the Jewish New Year begins now. It is the lunar calendar, and it actually, I think, is really beautiful that it coincides with the changing of the seasons. And like many Jewish holidays, Rosh Hashanah also incorporates a lot of seasonal food. So we have apples and honey with us here, and it's said that we have the apples and honey to sort of usher in a sweet new year. And of course, apples are also in season right now, so a lot of the dishes that we have during Rosh Hashanah traditionally include apples. We'll have honey cake, apple strudel, you name it. So definitely looking forward to having a little snack of these after this.
Yes, we'll do that at the end as a little treat. And you and I have been talking for months now on Instagram. This is actually the first time we're meeting IRL. Yay!
But I feel like I already know you.
I know.
Instagram is funny like that.
But we've been talking for months about this increasing rise in anti-Semitism. I mean, for years now, but it feels like more and more lately. And then this new study that came out recently. So I wanted to get your thoughts. And since you've been you've outspoken about it on your feed, Ariel.love. Yeah. So what are your thoughts about this?
You said it. There's really just been a rise in the anti-Semitic incidents that we've been seeing, and the number of recorded incidents that are overt happening is really just increasing. And it's scary. It's very, very scary. We'll, I'm sure, talk about the research that you just mentioned in the study that came out yesterday. But as a Jew in America who is proud to be Jewish, and I care about the welfare and justice of all people, I think it's really important to stand up for our people, just as we're standing up and being allies to other folks who need us to raise their voices. And this is an opportunity, I think, when we see these incidents taking place on college campuses, when we see vandalism or desecration of Jewish holy sites, of synagogues, places of worship, or even just hate speech online, we have to call it out the same way we would if it was about racism or homophobia or any other social justice issue. I think anti-Semitism for a long time, there was a guilt after the Holocaust and it wasn't so overt. And now we're at a point where it's becoming a lot more overt and socially acceptable, even though it really is not, to openly be anti-Semitic. And it's important to me to stand up against anti-Semitism whenever I see it.
Good for you. And yeah, you've talked about the connection actually with the Black community and the history of racism.
Yeah, so actually a lot of people don't know about the history between the Black community and the Jewish community and how we've worked together historically, especially in the United States, to lift each other up and stand side by side. During the Civil Rights Movement, there were many, many Jewish allies who fought alongside their Black peers, and Abraham Joshua Heschel was a very famous rabbi who worked alongside Dr. King. And, that generation has passed, but there are still so many amazing initiatives happening, and Jewish activists and advocates who are working with their Black communities to help each other. And I think it's really important that we remember that, and that it's both ways. We're allies for each other.
Yeah. And that there's Black Jews, actually.
And that there are Jews of color. Absolutely, there are Black Jews, and so many Jews who are not Ashkenazi from Eastern Europe, but from North Africa, from the Middle East, from Asia. And I think it's important that those voices are heard too. I have been following a lot of different accounts on Instagram that are just trying to both amplify voices of the Jews of color and also, explain the history and the interconnectedness between our communities.
Yeah, that's really important. So this study really freaked me out that I saw this morning come up. So do you want to just describe a little bit?
Yeah, I just saw it yesterday too. The Guardian published this article, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but what they were sharing was that the majority of, I think it was Jewish millennials and Gen Z, I think it was over 2/3, had not even heard of the Holocaust. And it went on to share even, more alarming statistics about, Holocaust education or lack thereof, and even Holocaust denial. But the fact that many people, Jewish people, reported that they weren't even aware, they didn't know what the Holocaust was or that it happened. And it didn't even happen that long ago. We're talking a couple of generations. There are still survivors today. And I know you're doing a lot of cool work that hopefully you'll be able to share soon. But it's alarming, it's saddening, it's shocking. And it's, I think, imperative now more than ever that we start talking about this constantly, openly educating people. I also read somewhere that only 9 out of the 50 states in the United States require the Holocaust to be taught in the public schools, and that's disgraceful. I mean, we should be teaching it. It's a part of our history, but in every state and in every school, it shouldn't be just a handful of schools that are teaching this. So I was shocked to see this research come out, but it only, I guess, motivates me more to continue speaking out and educating about the Holocaust, about Jewish history, and about Jewish pride and anti-Semitism today.
Yeah, and you're a mom, so, I mean, what do you want to model for your girls?
Yeah, so I have 2 young daughters, and it makes me sad sometimes to think about that they'll grow up, they'll probably never meet, or they'll never remember meeting a survivor. When I was growing up, I had the privilege of hearing from many Holocaust survivors and hearing their testimonies, learning about it in school. I traveled to Poland on an immersive trip and got to go to the concentration camps and see it firsthand. And that had such a lasting impact on me. And I am worried that my daughters might not have the same experience if I don't instill that in them. And when we say never again about the Holocaust, that's on us, and that's right now. Like, before, the Holocaust happened, there was a steady increase in Europe of anti-Semitism. Prior to that, the Jews had it good for the most part, like we could say here in America, but there were pogroms, there were attacks, and I don't want to make, a stark comparison like that, but we cannot be complicit when these things are happening here, because when we say never again, we mean it.
Yeah. So what about people who want to get involved and try to help? Because I know there were a couple groups, is it JDRF, or what are some groups where people can get?
Yeah, there's a number of groups. I can also send them to you so you can maybe tag them in this afterwards. But I like following some of the anti-Semitism watchdog groups. Eve Barlow and Ben Friedman are also 2 accounts that I love following, who are they're Jewish activists and anti-Semitism educators. Ben is a Holocaust educator, and it's really, I think, helpful when I'm seeing, I follow different accounts on Instagram and other social media outlets, and that's how I'm also educating myself and seeking ways that I can help. I think the biggest thing we can do is acknowledging, like, I know a lot of people are experiencing college campuses different anti-Semitism, and there's new accounts. I think it's called Jewish on Campus is another one, where people are anonymously reporting things that are happening, and I think just calling it out, naming it, acknowledging it is the first step. And it's really on us, and I'm talking about Jews and non-Jews alike, to stand up against it, because hate in any form against any group is, we're all connected, and it's all going to affect each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I just want to add, maybe I'll flip the camera for a second, and then we can have our apples and honey. I just want to add, that article really scared me. The notion of there was a large percentage of people who felt that the Holocaust was a myth, that it never happened, and that even in New York State, there was 19% of those surveyed didn't know about the Holocaust, couldn't name concentration camps, etc., and thought that there was a large percentage that thought the Jews caused the Holocaust. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, as we know, and that's really scary. That's really scary. So let's keep up the good fight. Oh, and yes, we are going to be interviewing some Holocaust survivors, some folks that were rescued by the Kinder Transport, and those who don't know, just stay tuned. These were children that were led out of Germany and Hungary to safety. Rescued in secret by families that adopted them all over Eastern Europe, and by train and a few by plane. And we're going to be visiting those guys as well to keep this information alive, because people are forgetting, and it's not that long ago. So so on that note, on a more positive, let's look to our apples and honey on the stoop and have a little nosh, have a little.
And I think this has been a heavy year for all of us, and my wish as we enter 5781, that's the Jewish New Year that we're about to enter, is that not only is it a sweet new year, but a year full of health, happiness, and justice for all of us, and that we can continue to have meaningful conversations like these.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
I'm like extremely messy and
delicious. Cheers.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Nothing like an apple and honey.
It's my favorite holiday. I just love the ushering in of the sweet new year and the harvest and the moon. It's all
exactly. It's also an opportunity for us to reflect on this past year, to repent. If there's these 10 days of awe, we can set intentions for ourselves, for our communities, for the upcoming year. And I think right now, with the changing of the seasons, we're all ready for a fresh start and a new beginning. And what better way to do that with a celebration and some sweetness.
Oh, well said. Well said. Oh, we just got a comment as we're wrapping up. Elizabeth Adams says, thank you for keeping the importance of knowing our history alive, wishing justice, sweetness, and more love to everyone. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And thanks, Ariel, for stopping by.
Thank you, Marge.
You're welcome. Have a good one. Happy New Year.